Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Wednesday. It's June the 12th. This is probably going to be the last chart lesson before I leave for Brazil. Maybe I'll do one tomorrow, but we leave on Friday, so definitely I start vacation after tomorrow, and it just depending on how the day goes, there may be a chart lesson tomorrow, maybe not, but if there's not, you'll know why. And again, I won't be back. The first chart lesson will probably be Monday the 24th, but just in case sometimes we get delayed a day or two coming back, it could be Tuesday the 25th. So we're supposed to be back on Sunday, and I'll be back in the office on Monday if that's the case. So probably the 24th will be the first chart lesson we start back. So just remember that. If you're not seeing any chart lessons, you'll know why. And if you would, again, hold your questions and stuff until I get back, because otherwise I'll have 1,000 emails and just won't be able to work through them and answer them properly. So if you got any questions, just write it down so you won't forget, and then once I get back you can start sending them to me if you hadn't found an answer for it by then. But really strong downtrend today. Basically from the regular open we've been trending down all day, and it looks like we pretty much, well, yesterday, it looks like we rallied to begin with yesterday and then sold back off late in the afternoon. And I didn't get a chance to do anything but look at the closing prices yesterday. And so I thought we had sold off, but it looks like we sold off, rallied, and ended up closing, taking that a little bit of a rally back as well. But today it's been down from basically from the open around 8:30. It's been down all day. And if you found the trend channel, which I believe this is it right here, it's pretty obvious that held it on both sides. We overshot it a little bit. We broke it a few times up here, but generally you're going to get two legs down, and then but later I ended up adjusting this up a little bit, and I didn't think we had a break until maybe right here, and we're still working down. So we got back inside the channel, and it's still been holding the EMA all the way down. So, but it's really late in the day. But most of these trades were really easy to find for the most part if you found this original trend line. But if not, you just work off the other channels. You see I drew these short-term trends and channels, and that kept you on the right side, because this is all I had to begin with. I drew this off of here like so, basically off those first couple of bars there, and really what I did was I found it right here off of these moves first, and I drug it up, and it seemed to fit, and then later I was able to drag it up here, and you see that's probably more realistic. And this one ended up being a little bit lower down on the next swing, and we did overshoot it just a tad down here. So I believe that to be the channel. And but what you had to do in the meantime was use the shorter term trends. It's the only way to kind of make sure you're staying on the right side. But we started off, when I came in, we had this channel up, we had broken it, and then when I came in, we were actually working on this move right back here to this two-legged move back to the EMA. We created a double bottom, a second entry long. You can see it's a two-legged move back. So I felt like that was worth taking. Easy scalp. Didn't get much more. You might have got a couple of points out of the runner if you if you exited up here near the highs. And when this turned down, I was looking for a short. I was tempted to go short here, but I decided to wait. And once we got this price action kind of working down through right here, you can see that I drew this line off the bottom, moved it up, and then when we had that little two-legged correction back to it, then I'm thinking, hey, we're at least going down to here. Easy scalp, a couple of points off the runners, that's it, and then you get this correction back up. And again, you got a two-legged correction back to the EMA. That's a second entry short. It's the first break of that little channel, and you should have had this channel by now. It's real obvious. So two legs back, first break of the trend line. I'm looking for prices to come down here, and what do we get? We just keep on going. So then I'm looking for maybe a measured move like so. If you draw that down, you see we got really close to that. Depending on how you do that, that's where I was actually, so I exited in this little overlap right here. We went a little bit lower, but then we're looking for the correction. And at that point, I had this line drawn right here, and this was still the first break. I actually entered, that was your retest of this line right here. I actually entered right below that bar. When it turned up and turned back down, you could have entered there. Either one, easy move down. You didn't get a runner unless you entered below that first one, though. And then it turns back down for a second entry right here. That's a huge bearish bar. It broke out the top first and then went out the low side. So I went short on a stop right below. Let me back out. This bar right here, because we went out the top first and then turned down and went out all in one bar. And again, it's right off what I'm thinking is the trend line, and we don't have a new low yet, and you can see it just kept on working lower again. Any runners were safe here on that second entry short. I even considered going short here, but I was a little bit leery of it, and it would have worked, but I was a little leery of going short right there. It's really almost a similar setup as this one. Right, I think it was this one right here. Yeah, it's similar to that. You see we got the little overlap and the matching bars, and we tried to go higher and then turn down. So it's similar to this setup, but I just wasn't quite sure that we weren't going to make a low in reverse right there. But we continued on down, and there really was a short right here too, and I meant to circle that one and make it green, and I forgot to come back and do that. So let's just go ahead and make it green. And really, I don't even know if it has to be green, but I was a little leery of it because it is a second entry short, and it's it would have been better to wait on this bar and then use a limit order, and you see it would have gotten filled, and it was an easy scalp, but we weren't back to this trend line right here, and I wasn't sure if we didn't even have a break yet. So I was a little leery of taking that one, but it would have worked. And then prices pull back, and we find us another move down, and that one's right off the original line. I felt like that was worth taking. Easy scalp, and then it comes back again. It was a first entry, but the fact that it was off of that trend channel line kept me in it, and it was a failed break kind of above this area right here. So I stayed with it. It did work. We came back. Then we made a double top, and this is a second entry here. Notice we went up, pulled back, went up again. So we get a second entry short right here off a double top. And again, this one took a little bit to get going, but any runners were safe, and then this thing was off to the races. I like this one too because by this time, I'm thinking, hey, we haven't gotten back down to this line. And what I did was I was starting to adjust this line a little bit here now. I kind of moved it up. And you see, and now I'm thinking, okay, well, we probably hadn't even had a break yet. So I really like this line. And we weren't really off these lows yet. And originally I started with this here, but I moved it down when we to this next low. So I've kind of moved this line around a little bit too. Sometimes you have to fine tune them or adjust them, but everything is down right here. And the reason I like this trade is we weren't back to the trend channel line yet, but there's a failed second entry long. Notice we got a new high here. First entry, pull back, second entry. So there's going to be a lot of trap longs, and it dropped right on down. And, you know, you're probably smart to exit where you think the line is, but you could have ridden this all the way down. But then guess what? You get another two-legged pullback to the EMA, and I felt it was worth taking again because this thing is really selling off, and you might have been thinking about a measured move right here. See, there's leg one, and if you bring that down, you know, you're still shooting in this end, so there's room to come back down there again, plus your lows here. So I really like hanging on to that. I was just looking for a scalp here, but you really could have got a couple of points out of any runners. And you never know when this line is going to turn out to kind of, I was at that point too, another thought I was thinking was there may be a midline right here, and the low might actually be way down here somewhere. And we never got that low, so I'm guessing this is probably it right across here. And we have been finding resistance on both sides of that line, and prices really couldn't go any much lower than that. And then we're we're coming up out of there. You really could have, there's another second entry short right here, but by this time, I just didn't feel it was worth entering. That's not a very good setup bar. You had to enter way back down here unless you entered on a limit order. If you took this one, it's probably okay, but I didn't like it, and you can see it wasn't long till we rallied. And then we got one leg up, pull back. So this is a second entry short up here. We got that little trap. It ticked higher, and then it turned down. I waited on this bar. When it broke below it, I dropped the limit order right in there, a couple of ticks in. It got filled. Easy scalp. It comes right back. But then you get a second entry short. Another chance to get in. It's a failed second entry long right here because of this little tick higher. So there's your new high. First entry long pullback. So a lot of people thought the sell-off was over, so they got trapped right there. Another easy move, and then it pulls back and makes a double top right there. Another second entry short, and so I'm just staying with it. You just stay with this thing until you finally get a move. You know, and if you're drawing your shorter term trend lines, you could see this one was over right here. I didn't have this one on here. This one was coming up right through there. Notice we got the break, and it tried to go higher twice and couldn't, so that was another reason to enter there. We'll just go ahead and put that on there in case somebody wants to come back and look at it later. You can see it's kind of working up through there like so. And we tried to go higher twice, and it couldn't go any higher, and sold off, and then tried it again, sold off. And there's even a second entry short here, but I was a little leery of this one because I really thought we would rally out of here, and so I didn't take that one. And then, you know, I was done by the end. But there's been trades all down through here continuing. My guess is you know, it's 2:30 now. This thing may just continue to trade on down into the close, but let me back out again. You can see it's real obvious that we got a downtrend. So just draw your shorter term trends and trend lines, and that should do it. Keep you on the right side for the most part. And you know, it's a nice channel here, and I really think this was the first break. And at the end of the day, I think this was the first real break, and we made a few legs down. So we may break up out of here, but this has been so you know, it's been so much down all day that we may continue to trade on down into the close. When you get a trend like this, you're just looking for reasons around the either around the trend channel line, the trend line, and you got to make sure, you know, whenever you get a breakout, and that's kind of what this was, the retest, and the market's so weak you couldn't even get back up there. Then kind of right here, you got the same thing, and you see we've tested that a couple of times and couldn't get back again. So, but early this morning, it looked like we might have had a trading range, and that's why I had that line up there before we took off. And you can see that's another thing about this right here. This is a retest of that breakout right across there. We went right through it, and it's usually not very long till you come back and retest it, and you can see that. And then if you drag this one down, that was the low there. We retested that one 1, 2, 3 times, couldn't go higher. And then here was the breakout area down here, and we couldn't even get back to it. We never could even test that one. And really, that you might have seen a retest here a couple of times, so maybe it's this one we're trying to retest, but we couldn't even get back to it there. So so use that too. That just gives you another reason to enter the trade. But it was all downhill, so anytime it came back near this trend line and you wanted to sell, and there were some traps in here too that made it worthwhile going short even way down here. Because, again, I was thinking it's probably going to be right here. And maybe it is, and maybe that's why we are still trading lower. But there's not much time left in the day, and I think that we're going to find that this is it right here because it has turned it away 1, 2, 3, 4 different times today. And but a really good trading day, a real fairly simple day, really, as long as you were staying with the trend. This is why we don't counter trend. You can see there's trades that would have got you a scalp out of here, but look how many times you would have got trapped and lost money when all you got to do is wait for the entries on the other side off the high side, and it's just easy money. I mean, none of these trades really went against you when they set up. Look at them, none of them. If you waited on the right setup, none of them went against you. And really, any bar that broke above, once you got a setup bar, if you used it, the trade never even threatened you on any of these up through here. You can see that all the way down. They were just gimmies. And so when you see a strong trend like that, just get on with the trend and stay with it. And don't be entering so much down here on the lows because, you know, you may catch one of these, but you never know when it's going to be like this one and just keeps going. And if you thought you were catching one up here somewhere, it's, you know, it's several points against you. And before the market closes, it could be several more points against you. So don't counter trend trade on a day like this. This is an obvious, nice trend channel. Draw your short-term trend lines and stay with them, and that'll help more than anything. So, but again, I'm going to wrap it up. Not much else to say about today. It was a fairly straightforward kind of day. Hopefully you can recognize this, you know, this all downhill from the very open up here. And again, there's other trades in there that I don't have marked. There's a trap right here on a failed second entry short, and you see it would have worked. I didn't take that trade. I was real tempted to, but I told myself, hey, you know what happens? Just wait till it comes back up here, and you'll probably get a better opportunity. And, of course, I did, but it would have worked. Anytime you see those traps, they generally will work. But, you know, you're better off to look for the traps that are counter trend and get on with the trend. And you're a lot better off when you do it that way. And, less surprises, less opportunity of making a mistake or losing money or getting caught at the wrong time on the wrong side of the market. So, but anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Call it a day. I may be back tomorrow. Again, I'm just not sure. So if there's no chart lesson tomorrow, we'll see you on the 24th most likely. And again, I'm going to be in Brazil for the next 2 weeks on vacation. So I hope you have a good trading week. If I don't see you tomorrow, I'll see you when I get back. And just keep doing your studies. Keep you know, on your own. There won't be, again, you won't be able to compare your work to mine, but that might be good for you to get a little break and see what you can do on your own as well, and just see how it works out at the end of the day. And I'll see you when I get back. But this is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.